There are some others to mention here, and I only want to mention this in sort of an historical report. We're not doing a class in philosophy, but I want you to understand a few things about the philosophy of these men created. And we're going to be running out of time in about 8 minutes. I guess I might get enough time to get halfway through. Athens produced a man who was to become the most relentless pursuer of the truth that has ever been seen in the world. He would let nothing stop him in his pursuit. Nothing. He was as ugly as homemade sin. And he would tell you before anyone else, I am the ugliest Athenian of all. But, he would tell you, as the oracle at Delphi has said, no man is wiser than Socrates. Socrates. He was pot-bellied. He had kind of a bulging forehead and a very long, wide forehead and receding hairline, kind of a pug nose, and a chin that jutted out, and short and stocky. And he was a stone cutter. That is to say, he's a blue-collar laborer. He worked in a quarry, mining, or rather, cutting big blocks of stone out for building purposes. And in his 30s or so, he began to think deeply about important things. And ladies and gentlemen, he had a mind unlike anybody who had ever gone before. And there maybe has not been anybody with a mind like this ever since. But he is concerned with the great questions. For example, don't write. What is truth? What is beauty? What is love? What is wisdom? What is justice? Does my life really matter in the great scheme of things? Do I have an obligation to my fellow man? Do the gods really exist? It's a serious question. And he provided the answers for almost every one of them. He was in relentless pursuit of the truth. Now, when he had been at his work, thinking and so forth for a while, he began to go into the marketplace of Athens called the Agora. And he would engage supposedly learned men in philosophic discussion. And Socrates quickly came to the realization that these men didn't really know very much, that they were all talk and very little substance. And he took a perverse delight in leading them into a discussion where he could tie them in a knot intellectually and show them up to be a pompous ass and a fool. He delighted basically in pricking the vanity bubbles of these so-called scholars. And he was in that way mean-spirited. But he really isn't, because it's all part of his effort to get at the truth. And as he would tell you, even though I made him look like a fool, he at least came away having learned a great deal. But it certainly didn't endear him to the so-called scholarly community of Athens. They got to where they didn't like him. But some of them will eventually cause his death. But anyway, during the course of these dialogues that he would have with famous scholars and philosophers, he came to the attention of a young Athenian aristocrat who, by the way, had won a gold medal at the Corinthian Games in wrestling. And he carried the nickname that he had earned, Broad Shoulders, with him all of his life. His nickname is Plato. And Plato was 18, Socrates was about 42. And Plato just about fell in love with Socrates. I mean that in the way of, as a teacher and a mentor and an inspiration. And I should better say it, he worshipped Socrates. That would be a better way to put it. And Socrates became his hero. And Plato, ladies and gentlemen, as strange as this may sound, had an even greater mind than Socrates. Plato may have had the greatest intellect of anyone who has ever lived, and I'm including even Sir Isaac Newton, St. Thomas Aquinas, St. Augustine, Aristotle, George Bush. Did I say something wrong? Oh, that thing about George Bush. I didn't say that. No, Senator, that was not me. It was those Democrats sitting behind me. I would never say anything like that. You trying to make me look bad, huh? Yeah, but, I was liberal. Always trying to make a poor guy like me look bad. Go spend some time with Hillary. She needs cheering up. As a matter of fact, she needs cheering up. Bill, it's not supposed to be working out like this. Bill, hear it now. Yes, dear. Right. No, I don't mean anything untoward. Take it easy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Plato, let me just say this right now. Plato is going to write down all those dialogues that Socrates had. And you may wonder, how in the world could he do that? He had a photographic memory. So in the evenings, he would reproduce a 2-hour conversation, word for word. And they're all here for you today. And they're called the dialogues by Plato. And if you will read them, it's as if you are sitting on a stone bench and Socrates is sitting next to you and his protagonist, or his antagonist, is sitting right across from him, and you're participating in it. He puts you right there at ringside, so to speak. The dialogues of Plato, but be warned, you're not going to zip through them. That is heady, deep stuff. And just to read, say, 10 pages of a dialogue between Socrates. The dialogue may be 80 pages, but just to read 10, it may take you a week and a half. Because you're going to go back and reread, and then you're going to say to yourself, good God, I got to put this book down and think about this for a while. And then maybe 2 days later, you'll come back to it, you see. I mean, this is... time here. We'll get together next week, right? Let me ask you a quick question. Plato is eventually going to find his successor. Who will that be, do you know? Very good. And who will be Aristotle's successor? Alexander. Very good. Okay. And he is officially known as what? Alexander of Macedon. Popularly known as Alexander of Macedon.
And that's my whole history class. Yeah. Bye.